Well, the weather outside really is frightful, so we've moved indoors to Shaw's Landing, where there's an open house going on, a restorative justice open house where you live. Yes, just like I told you, we've stepped inside Shaw's Landing, where the Restorative Justice Society is holding an open house. They're going to be giving a demonstration in a little while, showing people exactly what a restorative justice circle looks like. And if you don't know what a restorative justice is, I'm here with board member Deb Masso, who's going to tell us a little bit about it. Deb, what is restorative justice?
Thank you, Nancy. Well, restorative justice is an alternative when there's been harm done. Rather than going through the court system, we meet with the harmed and the accountable, and we meet with them, establish some rapport with them. Then eventually we meet with them in a neutral setting, where after all parties agree, of course, that they are willing to go forth to begin healing and restitution.
So this sounds very interesting, but I'm confused. Is this as well as the traditional justice system, or is this a complete alternative route?
It's a complete alternative route. I'm going to say. Of course, we get the RCMB play a big role in sending. I don't want to say clients to us, but people who may have to go through the court systems, but the alternative is we'll go through the restorative justice route, especially if there hasn't been any problems with the law. And it's a great route. It's a time for the harmed to reflect on what has happened and brought him or her to this time in their lives, and they're able to face the harmed, the accountable, the harmed.
This sounds so fascinating. So when we're talking about the harm, we're talking about the victim of a crime.
The victim of a crime.
And the perpetrator, meeting together.
Yes.
Do they decide together on what the outcome of that meeting will be?
Do they decide? They decide individually through what we call, and we do in circle style, where we have chairs surrounded, we have everybody positioned in a special spot, and we all face each other, and every person in that circle will have an opportunity to speak and voice their opinion on how they're going to move forward together and start healing.
Deb, this is so fascinating. I understand why there's going to be a demonstration tonight, so that everybody gets a chance to see how the circle works. Thank you so much for introducing us to the topic. There is lots more to tell you about. But before we do that, we are going to head down the hill from Shaw's Landing to Spirit Square, where there is a very vital year-round farmers market taking place. Neither rain nor snow nor banks of fog can stop it. Every Saturday morning at 9 o'clock sharp, Port Alberni's Spirit Square Farmers Market is open for business.
We run year-round. All year round. We're certifiably crazy.
Well, I don't know about that, but they are busy, with customers lining up before the bell rings. And although this market does sell more than just farm produce, it provides an important source of revenue for farmers.
Absolutely crucial, and that's actually part of our mandate for the market, is that we're providing a venue for farmers to sell their product. We're also providing a venue for young farmers to be able to have someplace to sell their product.
One of those young farmers is Anna Lewis, who manages a local farm which sells produce at the market.
It's incredibly important. I mean, through the summer, we're really busy stocking our farm stand and running a CSA box program. But this time of year, we just closed our farm stand 2 weeks ago, but we still have a tremendous amount of produce out in the fields. So to be able to finally have the time to make it down to the market is really important.
It's important for other vendors too, with everything from strawberry jam to warm winter toques to fine woodworking on offer every week.
There you go.
They're the eye candy. They truly are. Like, it's just, especially in the winter time, because we're low on some of our product. So so they come down, and these are skilled people, artisans if you want. So yeah.
We try to get down here maybe once every few weeks. It's local.
The people are great. We need to support the people that live here. And fresh ingredients. You know, I'd like to see more of this. I don't want to buy in cans and boxes, you know? The dollars that you spend locally stay local. They don't go over the hill to some big corporation or whatever. They stay local. You pay me $10 and I spend it here.
And that shop local message is one that seems to be catching on.
I think there's been a huge educational component that's been occurring within Port Alberni and our surrounding neighborhoods.
The market acts as an interface. It interfaces between the urban and the rural, and it's beautiful down here. It's even on days like this.
Now, I should add one caveat to that last story. If you're looking for farm fresh eggs, you better line up pretty early, because even though the farmer's market starts at 9, there were people lining up at 8 o'clock for the eggs, so get there early. Now, we are still here at Shar's Landing. We are still talking about restorative justice. And Deb Masso gave us a great overview of what restorative justice is, but I have another board member here. I have Graham McDonald. Graham, it sounded really interesting what Deb was explaining to us, but is this justice?
I think it is justice, and in some ways, for people who are, particularly for people who are not inured to the criminal courts, who haven't been through things again, it's a unique, as Deb might have said, opportunity for people to reflect, set themselves up again, and figure things out. The agreements that are reached in the course of conference are really thought about by the people in the circle, and they're designed to make things right for both the person who's been harmed and to provide opportunities for growth and personal insight for the accountable individual.
So I can see how this is a benefit to the perpetrator, but I don't necessarily see how it benefits the victim of a crime, the person who has been harmed.
Okay, so the person who has been harmed is often imagining the world around them to be a very scary place, and because that world around them has reached into their lives and done something that harmed them, they can carry that assumption about the whole world. And the court system does nothing to address that fear, that that feeling of threat ongoing. And this helps to make what happened understandable. We learn what was going on for the accountable person, what might have contributed to a stupid, maybe once-in-a-lifetime decision. We learn that this is a real person, this is one situation, this isn't the whole picture, and sometimes people, actually, well, the key goal of this is to see everybody as humans. We're all humans, we all have our problems, we all make mistakes, and do we want people to be held to the one mistake in their life? Does that make sense moving forward?
Wow, this sounds like such a powerful experience. Have you found that sometimes the participants are surprised at how powerful it is?
Well, I've got a box of Kleenex over there, even though it's a model role play tonight. But yeah, I think people are often surprised by the emotions that come up. Some of the discussions have already taken place in families. We get a lot of young people coming through the program. So there have been family dynamics and so on. But hearing it in a larger group, I think, brings it home. You've got all that parental modeling, and so you just see it as a pattern, but when you hear it from other people, what effect your behavior might have had on you, or how they've been affected, or even how the parents of the person who's caused the harm is worried for the person that was harmed, it makes it, it's just a more human world.
It sounds marvelous. I can't wait to see the demonstration, see how it all comes together. Graham, thank you so much for telling me about it.
I'm happy to talk with you.
Now, this is a program called Where You Live, and Where You Live took me to a home visit this past week. Well, actually a home away from home visit.
Good afternoon, Transition House. Can you tell me a little bit about your situation? Abuse comes in many forms. It's not just physical, it's emotional, it's mental, it's psychological, it's financial.
Cindy Blake speaks with authority. As manager of Port Alberni Transition House, she's heard far too many stories of abuse.
Everyone has their own story, and it's all about feeling unsafe, intimidated.
And that's where Transition House comes in. A safe place for women, and if necessary their children, to find refuge from abuse while they make the plans necessary to change their life.
What will happen is a woman will come here, and one of the first things we do is we create a safety plan. So what that safety plan might look like is what's going to make that woman and her family safe. If the woman is choosing to stay away from the relationship and home and move into new housing, then we'll help them find income assistance, refer to different counseling if there are mental health issues that need to be dealt with. If somebody's working, is active in their addictions, then we'll help refer to mental health people and addictions counselors. So, you know, referrals in many, many different directions.
All of this in a place that is remarkably cozy, more like a home than a facility.
We try to make it as comfortable as a home as possible for the women that use it, and especially the children, so that they feel that they're in their own environment and can feel comfortable and safe.
But first, they have to get here. And although women are often referred by the RCMP or other agencies, they can also just pick up the phone and call a Port Alberni Transition House themselves.
We're a 24/7 service. We're here always. So we're just a phone call away if help is needed. Many of the women that come here, it's just the start of their healing journey. There's much more to it past us.
That's a good way to put it, because really, the choices made by women as they rebuild their lives will inform the choices made by their children in the future, and in turn, help to shape the community they live in.
By women being able to access the services here to advance on to a healthier lifestyle, and role modeling and fostering that into their children's lifestyles, that hopefully generations down the road, it becomes a healthier community.
Building a healthy community. It's no small aspiration, and it's one that comes with a price tag.
BC Housing is our major funder for the Transition House. As with all of our programs, there's not fully funded, so we have to go to the community and seek funds from the community through events and donations.
And that's where you come in. If you'd like to find out more about the Port Alberni Transition House or any of the services offered by ACAUS, give them a call. They would love to hear from you. Well, the circle is starting to fill up. The demonstration of restorative justice is about to start, so we're going to show you that.
This is not a real offense. This is not something that's actually happened. It's a scenario that's being put together. I'm sure analogous things have happened, maybe in this community, maybe in communities all over the country. But as we go through the process, you'll understand why we're here and what's going on. We'll be working towards achieving an agreement that puts things right in some manner and that we can all agree to is something that does make things right. You know, a serious harm has been done, and we're going to learn a bit more about that from each of you and the effects of that on each of you.
I sent Devin an intimate photo of myself in trust, and then I got a message from him saying if I didn't send more pictures, he would post the picture I sent on social media for others to see.
That must have been pretty shattering. So what were you feeling? What were you thinking when you got that?
I was scared of him, scared of what others might think and say.
I heard you when you said that you felt very scared. And tonight, as we're exploring the harm, if you need to take a break, please do so.
I basically threatened her to send me more, and if she didn't, then I would post it on, give it to my peer groups, or post it on social media.
And I understand charges were laid?
Yes, they were.
Yeah.
Extortion.
Yeah. And what have you been thinking about since then?
I've been thinking a lot of regret. Kendra and I had a great relationship before it, and a lot of regret.
I went and dealt with Devin and arrested him for extortion. And I really don't think Devin understood when we were first talking of the bigger picture of what he had done, the implications for not only him, but the implications for Kendra and her family and Pierce. So, but in talking with Devin over time, he quickly became aware of the bigger picture.
I am very embarrassed, and I know that he's very embarrassed. Our whole family is very, just absolutely, it's hard to even articulate the way in which you feel in a situation like this when you know that you've done such great harm to someone else in the community.
So I'm going to break out of role play for a moment and just say that this might lead to some more discussion amongst people in the circle and questions asked and answered and exchanged, and maybe some, outpouring of feelings. Stacy's anger might flash for a moment or two, that sort of thing. And then once we've, are in a at least understand each other where each other has been coming from, we can start to look at what we might do, what sort of agreement we might put together that would address the harm that's being done, make things right, and perhaps even reach beyond the group itself in order to have some influence in the school community or elsewhere.
Wow, that was so fascinating. I know a lot of you out there are going to be interested in finding out more about restorative justice. I just happen to be here with the president of the Restorative Justice Society, Lori Money. Lori, how do people find out more about the society and about restorative justice in the Valley?
Well, certainly, if people would like to find out more, you can go on Facebook and you would search Alberni Valley Restorative Justice Society. Please do.
And this is a volunteer board, volunteer society?
It is. We're a registered society with a number of volunteers, yes.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much for doing this evening and for doing what you do. Well done. Yes. Good on you.
Okay, thanks.
I know a lot of you are going to be following up on that because it is a fascinating concept and one that can touch so many people in the Valley if we let it. Now, we are getting near the end of our show, but before we say goodbye, we are going to find out a little bit more about the great goings-on in our community.
Hello and welcome to Bulldogs Weekly right here on Shaw TV. I'm Tally Campbell. On today's show, we chat to Sammy Farron of the Alberni Valley Bulldogs, who is a first player committed to NCAA University, and we take a look at the upcoming week right here on Bulldogs Weekly. Let's go inside. I am now joined by Sammy Farron of the Alberni Valley Bulldogs. Sammy, talk about your commitment to Princeton, how the process went, and why you chose Princeton.
Well, Princeton first reached out to me when they saw me at the BCHL showcase. They took my dad and I on a tour over there, and we fell in love with the campus instantly. Obviously, academically, it's the best school in the States, so there's no doubt in my mind that it would be the best option for me. And then on the hockey side of things, after meeting with the coaches, and they told me their style of play, I believe it matches my style of play perfectly.
This is your first season in the BCHL of the Alberni Valley Bulldogs. Why the BCHL and why the Bulldogs?
Well, being from North Van, growing up watching BCHL games, it's always been a dream to play in the league. And, it's the best, definitely the best league in Canada, moving players to college hockey. And, yeah, it's just a great place to be.
And so why the Bulldogs?
I played for Coach Hughes 2 years ago, and when he got the job here, he gave me a call and gave me the opportunity to come play for him again. And I love his style of play, and I had to say yes to it.
And speaking of your first season in the BCHL, the Bulldogs, talk about how it's gone so far. You've been involved in all 28 games with the Bulldogs.
It's been going pretty good. I've adapted to the fast-paced pretty well. Our team we're doing better every day. We have a lot of new guys to the league, and every day we take a step forward, and I believe pretty soon we'll be a bigger impact in the league.
And lastly, Sammy, what is your goal for the remainder of the season here with the Bulldogs?
For me, I definitely want to improve on my offensive side of things, just being more of a presence in there. Obviously, our team has struggled in the O-zone a little bit, so to help out on that side of things is definitely my goal.
Awesome, thank you. That was Sammy Farron, the Alberni Valley Bulldogs, the first player committed for the 2017-18 season for the Bulldogs to Princeton University. The Alberni Valley Bulldogs are finally back home this weekend. Saturday night, they take on the Penticton Vees at 7 o'clock. This game is the annual 5 Hope for Food event. Please bring a non-perishable food item. And on Sunday, it's 2 p.m. a game against the Surrey Eagles in our annual teddy bear toss. When the Alberni Valley Bulldogs score their first goal, you get to throw your teddy bears on the ice. And that's all time we have for this edition of Bulldogs Weekly. I'm Tally Campbell. We'll see you right here next week on Shaw TV.
Thank you, Tally, and Melissa, too. Really, there is so much going on in the Alberni Valley. There's no reason to go out in the rain unless you absolutely have to. If you have an idea for a story that you would like to see on our program, please give us a call or shoot us an email. I'd love to hear from you. We'll see you next time, where you live.